Samaje Perine broke the NCAA single-game rushing record in 2014. Eric Stryker was an all-Big 12 linebacker. Both are back to lead the Sooners in 2015 for the 121st season of Oklahoma football. It begins in less than 5 months as we welcome you to the annual Red-White Spring Game. Hello again, everybody. Along with Dave Lapham, I'm Ron Thule. And Dave, there are a number of new faces and changes coming into this season, both on and off the field, including new offensive coordinator Lincoln Riley after a very successful stint at East Carolina. You and I have had a chance to know Lincoln a long time. He brings an awful lot to the table.
He does. Well, Bob Stoops basically has gone back to the future with Lincoln Riley. He introduced this air raid offense to the Big 12, won a national championship with it in the year 2000. 6 of the top 13 offenses in the country last year ran this offense, including TCU, Texas Tech, and West Virginia. It's all about mismatches and creating tempo, and it's going to be exciting.
And not a problem to introduce this offense to the Sooners.
We got it pretty detailed. You know, there's an installation process that we'll stick towards. We've got it scripted out exactly how we'll put it in. You know, one thing that's been nice, having done this, you know, at East Carolina just a few years ago, you know, I was able to see the ways we like doing it, and vice versa, able to see the ways that didn't work or maybe that were tougher. So we can tailor it to fit our guys, and so that's something we take a lot of pride in. I think that's why you've seen this offense do well with, you know, at all different kinds of places, different levels with different kinds of skill sets. And I think if you keep an open mind, you know, an open mind to use your players to the best ability, but also stay committed to what we want to do. If you can find that balance, then you have something, and that'll be, you know, that'll be our challenge as coaches.
Furious tempo and pace, creating constant mismatches and matchup problems. That's what this offense is all about. And Mike Stoops' defense practicing against it every day is going to be big.
We're going to have a great show coming up, including who's going to be playing quarterback. All that coming up straight ahead. We are set to get underway. Scoring is going to be simple. Just remember, whatever color the quarterback wears, if they score, that point will go to that color team. So the Sooners begin on the 20-yard line. First play from scrimmage, and they're just going to touch him down because Samaje Perine is not going to be able to be tackled. They're going to play kind of a little touch football with him today.
Well, to get Perine to the ground, Ron, you have to go low and at the knees, and Bob Stoops doesn't want that.
We're getting a good taste of this offense right off the back. 2 plays, 2 passes, this one into the flat. Incomplete. Penalty flag is thrown on the far side, and there you see how the points are going to be awarded.
Got holding on the left tackle. That's going to be an issue that has to be solved. You know, you lose 3 all-conference linemen, left tackle being one of them. Tyrus Thompson, second team All-Big 12. Darrell Williams, first team All-Big 12.
And you throw Adam Shedd in there, you've got 3 starters you've got to replace.
Adam Shedd, second team All-Big 12 as well. And Josiah St. John, the left tackle, was called for holding on that play.
Well, Cody Thomas, good look at him, the sophomore out of Colleyville, Texas. Very familiar with his offense. He played it in high school. Terminology is about the same, and everybody keeps talking about Knight and Mayfield. Don't forget Cody Thomas. He's got a little advantage in this offense. He's swinging around to the left side, obviously not going to be tackled. And Perine, I think he's played 3 more plays than we thought he would today.
Yeah, and that one's dicey because Perine and the defender are saying, you know what? Let's see, we're out here one-on-one. Let's see what happens. Perine's like, you wouldn't be able to just tag me down out here. You'd have to put a hit on me. I'd run through that tackle. Good running backs always make the first guy miss, but they're saying that basically as soon as he was touched by the defense, the play's over.
Yeah, the numbers on Perine last season, and he is going to be featured so much in this offense, so much so that he's concentrated on learning how to even catch the ball even better. He's got good hands because this offense, he's going to have to catch the ball a lot this season. And the first look at punting, and this is one area, punting and field goals obviously still up for grabs. There won't be any returns this season. You know, we talk about the fact that there are 4 quarterbacks battling for the job: Knight, Thomas, Hanson, and Mayfield. And I tell you, we watched practice yesterday, and I tell you, they've got 4 very talented young men there.
And the thing is, you know, when you look at it, Ron, 3 of the 4, Thomas, Knight, and Mayfield, they've all played in the Big 12. They've started football games in the Big 12 conference. That's rare. I mean, when you have that kind of depth in terms of experience in the conference on a football team, obviously the position group that's the best and most loaded on the football team is the running back position. But to have 3 experienced quarterbacks out of your 4 like this team has is significant.
Now, Trevor Knight was 11-4 as a starter in his career. He's completed 57% of his passes, 23 touchdowns, 17 interceptions for his career. Had that scary injury last season. Hand off to Daniel Brooks. Brooks, he'll try the right side, the sophomore out of Port Lavaca, Texas. And, you know, Trevor Knight, I think everybody would love to see him play an entire season without being injured.
And, you know, people are like, oh, boy, you're going to run this offense is going to just spread the football field and throw it everywhere. No, this offense creates running lanes, and Oklahoma's going to exploit it with the backfield they have.
Knight, the quick dump off, pass complete to K.J. Young, and he has upended it, not before he gets to the 36-yard line. And, you know, everybody talks about the fact that Lincoln Riley, a disciple of Mike Leach, and part of that Hal Mumme tree. But everybody who's come from that tree has kind of tweaked it his own way. Leach doesn't like running the football at all.
Well, the run game is like a curse phrase to Leach, but Dana Holgorsen at West Virginia finished number 2 in the conference to Oklahoma running the ball last year.
Now Trevor Knight scrambling and has to throw it away. They don't want to knock him down. Also on tap today, we're going to be having Coach Bob Stoops will be joining us. He is going to be mic'd on the field like he did last season, and we see him roaming around at about the 20-yard line right now, but we're going to be able to ask him live what's going on.
You know, we saw the pressure there. One stat that was amazing to me, this offensive line, of course, we already talked about 3 departed starters that were all conference caliber players. Only gave up 9 sacks
That's amazing.
On the season, led the nation.
And only 58 yards and losses in that play. This time Trevor Knight sticks it in the belly again. This time Brooks goes up over the 45 to the 46-yard line, and a good look at Coach Stoops. Coming with a fresh new hip this season.
Yeah, little hip replacement surgery. He's rebounded well, responded well. 16 straight bowl games, 12 of the 16 seasons. He's had double-digit or 9 wins or more, 10 wins or more. Just an incredible performance at Oklahoma.
Only coach with over 100 regular season Big 12 wins. He's got 104. Bill Snyder is second with 87. And you can see right away, we saw a couple of passes, the first offense that had the football. Now, this offense running the ball more.
Yeah, this offensive line, they still have, they did lose some talent, but they do have some road graders and got a lot of confidence in the offensive line coach. Bill Biedenbow has done a tremendous job recruiting and developing talent and sending them on to the next level.
Pride of Muleshoe, Texas, Lincoln Riley, population just over 5,000. Pass is incomplete, a little too high. Intended for Jeffrey Mead. You know, going back to Lincoln Riley, I mean, here's a guy that started out as an assistant with Mike Leach and got his opportunity from Ruffin McNeil over at East Carolina. Had an incredible year last year. East Carolina set a record for yards, points per game for the school at over 35 points a game. And he's paid his dues throughout his career.
Well, there's no doubt. And, you know, Bob Stoops is great friends with Mike Leach. So I'm sure Bob Stoops talked to Mike Leach about who should I get as an offensive coordinator. And Mike Leach, I'm sure, said there's one guy in the country you should get, Lincoln Riley. And if you want to run that offense, Bob, that's your guy. And here he is at Oklahoma.
Well, Sterling Shepard wearing the yellow jersey. They don't want him to be hit. Wide open, and Knight was not able to hook up with him.
What a loss that was when they lost Sterling Shepard 7 games into the season. He was averaging over 130 receiving yards per game. You lose him, you lost a lot.
And considering how hard he worked prior to last season on his speed, his releases, only to be limited, missing the last couple of games. 3rd down and 10. Trevor Knight at the helm. Looks left, looks down the middle. Has plenty of time, rifles the pass. That should be good enough for a first down, depending on where they mark it. Doesn't matter. Inside the 35, down to the 34-yard line.
You know, this offense is fairly simple, particularly when you're running crossing patterns. I mean, years and years ago, I'm talking to Mike Leach, it's like, if there's a guy running with you, keep running. If there's not, settle in the area, settle in the zone. If you're running and you find space, settle right in there and let the quarterback hit you in the numbers, and that's exactly what took place.
Knight's 2 of 4, already better than last season. Go back to the ground game, dancing around in the backfield, nothing doing. Able to get a couple of yards. It's going to be Brooks again. Daniel Brooks, of course, didn't play, and 2013, redshirted in 2012. Last season, his first action since high school. Pretty amazing.
He's got some wheels now. Watching him in practice, he's got some breakaway speed. That backfield is so stacked and so deep.
That's why Lincoln Riley telling us yesterday, I've never been part of a backfield with this many guys that are great. Alex Ross going to get the carry, and he'll bang his way inside the 30 down to the 29-yard line.
And you look at Alex Ross, all he did was finish second in the nation returning kickoffs, well over 30 yards per kickoff return, and took 2 of them to the house. So, you know, you get guys over 200 pounds with world-class track speed.
You and I talked last year about how he's a violent runner. He's got a little thump. Knight throws it out in the flat. This could be the first 6 of the ball game, and it is. Close to being 6.
Right.
Down at the 1-yard line, D.D. Westbrook.
Yes,
that's the guy that we have been talking about the last 24 hours.
D.D. Westbrook is the real deal. He's got short space quickness, and he can stretch the field as well. He's both quick and fast. Usually it's one or the other. He's got both.
You can see how quickly the Sooners got to the line of scrimmage. Stringing it out, the defense not being able to get in. Let's go back to D.D. Young out of Brenham, Texas, and Blinn Community College.
Well, D.D. Westbrook, it's nothing but a wide receiver screen. Good blocking on the perimeter. Get a couple of kick-out blocks. He turns it up inside, and darn near takes it to the house. He's got that explosiveness that you like to have at the wide receiver position for sure. 2nd
down and goal from the 1-yard line. And the officials are getting a workout, trying to put the ball down and get out of the way. Trevor with one lone setback, rolls, fires, incomplete.
Pretty good job by the defense, pulling their necks a little bit right here. You know, it's like, okay, we didn't let you score. There was a touchdown-saving tackle. Now you're going to have to work to score. Tried to go to another target that's been dynamic. Mark Andrews here all spring long at 6'6". He's going to be a huge red zone weapon. He's too big for defensive backs, too fast for linebackers.
So it's 3rd down and goal. This time Knight keeps it and strolls into the end zone. Knight had 5 rushing touchdowns last season, and he puts the white team on the board early.
Well, he can do it with his arm, and he can do it with his legs as well. Very athletic guy at the quarterback position. Little zone read. Watch him ride that running back very well. And good blocking on the perimeter, getting a block out there at the wide receiver position is K.J. Young, giving Knight an opportunity to slice up inside of him for the score. But riding that running back really froze the interior of the defense big time.
Nick Hodgson will attempt the extra point, and it is good. Knight 2 for 4 throwing in that series of downs. First rushing touchdown in 3 spring games for Trevor Knight, and the White leads at 7-0. Today, the white team gets on the board early, courtesy of Trevor Knight. Good series for him. And there's a number of offensive players that aren't going to be playing today, including a couple of outstanding receivers in Quick and Smallwood. Obviously, Mixon is not going to be playing today. Anderson won't be playing. But, boy, you take those 2 wide receivers out, a position that they're looking for depth in, that's going to be much needed come August.
Oh, yeah, and you look at the 3 running backs, Mixon, Anderson, the freshman that strained his MCL, and Flowers, great player. Nasatati, the guard, who's a key component. I mean, you got a lot of guys that they're going to be leaning on when it starts for real in the fall that aren't contributing today.
Well, here's Baker Mayfield. We get the first look at him. Had a perfect spring game last season. A little shuttle pass. Draws the defense up over the 40, up to the 42-yard line. That is good for a first down. Ahmad Thomas coming up to make the stop.
It's a nice little design right there. This is, if it's not executed, it's just an incompletion. That's not a fumble. Good blocking inside, covering people up. And that's what we're talking about. This offense, when you spread the field, it gives Brooks huge running lanes. I mean, there's big cavities in there to take advantage of.
Well, Mayfield was 9 for 9, 125 yards and a couple of touchdowns last year in the spring game. And a lot of people thought he would be able to play in the season. Wasn't able to do it. Gets the pass, swings it out far left side. Pass is complete. Another first down. Inside the 40, down to the 38-yard line.
Nice play right there in terms of breaking the tackle. Now, you make the catch, that's one thing. Todd, big guy at 6'5", makes the catch, then makes a miss. Overruns the tackle, gets back up inside for extra yards.
Mayfield, little play action, sees the scramble. Yeah, they're going to say he was down. let's go back to that, because one of the problems is last season Oklahoma was very good against the run. They almost overplayed the run sometimes, and the point of emphasis this spring was get better in the secondary against the pass.
Right, and empty the box some. You know, you can load the box up and stop the run anytime you want. They finished in the top 10 against the run for the season, but the bottom 10 against the pass for the season. You have to have more of a balance schematically in terms of when you're going to load and unload the box to help on the perimeter on the back end. And on the back end, you're going to have to do a better job of not making a big mistake in terms of coverage breakdown at very inopportune times.
Loss of a lot on the play. Shepard, they swing it out to him, and he is going to be touched immediately, and he'll lose a couple of more yards. Nice play by Stephen Parker, the sophomore out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. And that's one of those positions at strong safety, I think, that Coach Stoops and, you know, Kerry Cooks, the new defensive back coach, all looking for players to step up. More cornerbacks, more safeties.
Yeah, Parker had a great year last year. Got an honorable mention votes as Defensive Player of the Year in the Big 12. And he's had an unbelievable spring, and he's playing at a high level in the back end. They just need more depth at that safety position. They're looking for some of the incoming freshmen to make contributions.
Third down and a bunch. They're just going to keep it on the ground and back into positive territory, down to the 49-yard line. Eric Stryker coming up to make the stop.
Stryker will definitely strike you.
Oh, yeah.
He's appropriately named. What a great last name for a linebacker, Stryker. But this guy, he's the straw that stirs the drink for the defense. They feed off his energy, and you know, Mayfield's a little bit like that at the quarterback position. Even if you're not the best player on the football field, if you think you're the best player on the football field, you got a shot. And that's how Mayfield approaches it. Mayfield feels like nobody's going to stop him, and that's kind of contagious.
Well, here's Jack Steed. He's going to be kicking away, the redshirt junior out of Katy, Texas. He's been on the team 3 years, has never played, and this is not a good kick. And Edie Westbrook getting an opportunity to field punts, and that's another position that's open, is punt return. Well, we talked about the offensive players that aren't going to be playing today, not expected to play on defense, and the big one there has to be Dominique Alexander, the junior out of Tulsa, led the team in tackles last season with 107.
Yeah, he's got a wrist injury, and Walker, they were expecting big things out of him at defensive end, came down with strep throat during the course of the week here, so he has to sit out today's action. They're looking for him to make strides. He's got everything you want from a physical standpoint. It's just a matter of putting it all together.
And Courtney Garnett, of course, the redshirt freshman at defensive tackle, one of the four-star guys that they're expecting to see a lot of playing time this season. So now the red team takes over. We get our first look at Justice Hansen, the redshirt freshman out of Edmond, Oklahoma. Talk about a guy with a gun for an arm. Hansen is just that. And again, the running game. Are you surprised we're seeing so much run?
I'm really not. You know, I think particularly in the spring game here, I think Lincoln Riley's going to be very vanilla. And I don't think he's going to show a whole lot of things in the passing game. And I think, you know, the running game is going to be emphasized. You know, they were #1 in the conference, both running the football and stopping the run last year. Lincoln Riley wants to make sure that, you know, you feed the big dogs, those running backs. It's going to be a big part. Every offensive coordinator, every quarterback's best friend is a solid running game. I don't care what kind of offense you're running.
Lincoln Riley knows the importance of that. They give it back to Brooks, right side. Bangs ahead for the first down. One thing you and I have been talking about, because we go back to when Coach Leach was at Texas Tech, the splits of the offensive line.
Right.
We've seen everybody kind of vary that. These splits don't look anything unusual.
No, they're very traditional, Ron, but you can play with them. You know, you can change them, you can expand them, contract them during the course of the game. And some of it might be with matchups. If you feel real good about your ability to one-on-one pass protect, you can widen those splits a little bit.
Down the middle, wide open. Caught inside the 35, inside the 20. Fighting his way.
Wow. Big Andrews.
Inside the 10-yard line, Mark Andrews.
I'll tell you, Ron, this guy, he is a big old horse. There's no question about it. 6'6", 235, 240-pound guy. You know, like we talked about, too big for defensive backs, too fast for linebackers, and a little bit of a broken coverage there. Lose track of a target that size. Mike Stoops isn't going to like that, but there he is. And then yards after catch, showing that power.
A little pump fake and the rollout. Looking for some type of running room. Getting down to about the 12-yard line. As the red team now knocking on the door.
See, the thing you like about the wide receiver position, too, Ron, you've seen the smaller, quicker guys, you know, the Shepards, you know, of the world and the Westbrooks of the world. And then you've seen like Andrews, 6'6", you know, and they've got some receivers with big size, smaller, quicker receivers, and that's creating mismatch opportunities that you can really take advantage of.
And I think Lincoln Riley is going to tailor this offense to the players he has, too, which I think is a key component. High snap. Hansen pulls it down.
I'll tell you, bubble screens have become huge.
Oh, yeah.
And these bubble screens, the NFL has picked up on it. They're an extension of your running game. Basically, it's like a long lateral. You know, it's like you're running a sweep, but you're using a bubble screen to do it, to attack the perimeter of the defense. And it's a very safe throw. You know, and if you block well in the perimeter and make one guy miss, you can take it a distance.
Well, we've already seen a couple of big plays from two of the new players in Westbrook and Andrews. Now the red team facing 3rd down and 8. 3rd and goal from the 8. Another little high snap. Standing tall in the pocket inside the 4-yard line. Pass is complete. And to Connor Knight, his first catch of the spring game. Didn't have a catch during the season last year.
That's a good tackle. Keep him out of the end zone. Make a play, make the hit, drag him down to the turf. Is that Reuben Hunter, the walk-on linebacker, making a play right there?
Out of Putnam North High School, did a good job. I think Connor thought he was going to be able to get in there. Now here is Nick Hodgson, mainly known for his kickoffs. Number 2 in the NCAA in touchback percentage last season. And the zoology major from North Richland Hills will attempt the 20-yard field goal attempt.
Boy, I'll tell you, this guy, 2 out of every 3 kickoffs went in the end zone for touchbacks.
Think about that.
That's a cannon hanging off that right hip. Man.
At the Trails Golf Club in Norman, you'll experience great golf and fun for the whole family. 2015 membership specials make now a great time to discover the trails. Visit trailsgolf.com, or all you have to do is call 364-3790 for membership information. And sidebar, one of my favorite places to play. We're going to take a timeout. That's the end of the first quarter. The Whites scored first. The Red tacks on the field goal. 7-3 after 1. Of course, everybody around the country knows what happened here at the University of Oklahoma, and the players stood against it. And they've made not just a local stand against it, a national stand against it, which has been well received. And I think Bob Stoops, we talking with him about it the other day, he said, we've been strong enough to stand against it. And he's very proud of his players, and of course he was very much a part of that, Dave.
He really was, Ron, and you look at it, there's no manual to refer to here, you know, but Bob Stoops said, guys, you take care of things. That's trust. And now there's trust from the coaches to the players amongst each other. It got very emotional, you know, and adversity like that can galvanize the football team, and everybody stood in support of each other. So I'm telling you, sometimes hard times like that, you stand up to them the way this team stood up to them, it can really have benefits.
Well, President Boren came out and visited the team on Wednesday and said how proud he was of the team, and I think everybody across the country would agree with that. And congratulations to all the team leaders like Ty Darlington, Trevor Knight, Eric Stryker, everybody that said, let's deal with this instead of hiding.
And there were differences of opinion. You know, some players stood up and said, I didn't come to Oklahoma to be a social activist. I came to be a football player, but if it's that important to you, I got your back. And I'm going to do everything that we decide to do as a team. I'm on board. That stuff's very powerful.
Starts with the coach and the coaching staff. A little bit of dipsy-doodle. Dede Westbrook turning on the Jets inside the 50-yard line. And a penalty flag is thrown late.
Was he hit late out of bounds? That's the question. But, boy, I'll tell you what, Dede Westbrook can pick him up and put him down now. You know, we talked about it. Short space quickness, make you miss in a phone booth, basically. But then he can do this as well. Get to the perimeter and just stride it out and stretch the football field. And I don't know if they called an illegal block on the edge there of the perimeter. They called a hold right before he went out of bounds.
Yeah, it's coming back. It was a holding call.
I don't have a problem with that. Receiver's trying to spring Westbrook to the house. He knows he's got that kind of a problem. So his teammate at the receiver position trying to make the block in the perimeter to spring Westbrook. Neal get called for grabbing, handing the cookie jar.
But still, we saw the explosiveness of Westbrook. We already see him with a great pass. Now the run, kind of giving us a little taste, albeit a vanilla taste, of this offense.
I like Lincoln Riley getting the ball in his hands multiple ways, too.
Yeah.
Nothing there,
Get up to about the 45-yard line. Pickup of about 3 on the play.
Big old rugby scrum there, Ron. You know,
Yeah.
just push the pile. Get after a little bit.
And that roamer was underneath the pile, the redshirt freshman out of Port Arthur, Texas. And talking to coaches yesterday and saying, hey, who has to step up this year? Romar was one of probably 3 or 4 guys on the defensive side that they said he's got to be a player this year.
And his issue, Ron, has been health. You know, he missed the bowl game due to injury. I mean, he's stout in there. He just has to avoid the injury hex.
Second down at about 7. The play action. Scrambling, plenty of time. Sidearm throw. Is it picked off? Yes, intercepted at the 46-yard line. That's what the defensive coaches want to see. Nice job by Ahmad Thomas with the pick. He had one last season.
Did a nice job of staying with the play. Scramble drill, break into the sideline, throws into double coverage. That's not a throw you want to make. That was a very, very tight window to try to get the football into, and Ahmad Thomas says, man, if you're going to make that throw, I'm going to make you pay, and he does. Undercuts it, makes a great play on it.
3rd in the team in tackles last season. I think one of the things we didn't mention on that play, that the pressure that caused all that was put on by Devontae Bond. You know, and we heard in the pregame show, obviously, Bond is a player that everybody's looking at this season.
Yeah, you have Stryker on one edge, and if Bond can give you that converting speed to power pass rusher on the opposite side, the offensive line, you can't slide both ways. You know, they're sliding to protect against Stryker. Bond can eat well, and he's shown that he's got the ability to do that and balance up the pass rush.
The play action, looking down the middle. Throwing into coverage, pass is caught. What a catch by Jeffrey Mead.
One-handed, wasn't it?
I think it was. The 6'6" sophomore out of Tulsa.
I think he got the left hand out there and fought off the defensive backs with his right arm, made a left-handed catch in that ball down the middle.
They just showed it up on the big board. We will show it to you when we get a chance to. The run game, left side. Brooks. They're going to say it was a fumble. Yes, it was. Whistle didn't blow.
Wow, I thought he was in the end zone before the ball came out. Crossed the goal line before the ball came out, but they're saying no.
Never heard the whistle. So a couple of quick possession change there. Picked up by Isaac Elanya.
Isaac Elanya was a tight end last year. Moved to the defensive end position. Let's see if the ball's out just before he hits the goal line. I thought he had already crossed. The tip of the football has to cross the very, very beginning of the goal line, but it's punched out of there, and punched out of there pretty darn effectively by Reuben Hunter, the walk-on linebacker, doing a good job of stripping possession of the football. And the tip of the football didn't hit the very, very beginning of the goal line, so it's a fumble and bring it back.
Help make a difference in the lives of nearly 600 OU student athletes by joining the Sooner Club. Memberships start at $100. Join today at thesoonerclub.com or call 866-SOONER Club. The Sooner Club does a great job, and they can make a difference, and we invite you to be part of it. And a little guy getting a kick out of being here today. The sun's finally come out after a little bit of rain this morning here in Norman.
And that's something that you don't want to see. Last year, the team had critical turnovers at inopportune times, and a lot of them were turnover touchdowns, special teams touchdowns allowed. You know, when you're on the doorstep of the goal line to score, you cannot turn the football over.
And Cody Thomas will check back in, and he's going to put it up.
Wow.
Wide open, caught inside the 50, inside the 40, down to the 30-yard line. Good read by Cody Thomas, able to find John Humphrey, the freshman out of League City. Parker was on the coverage.
Humphrey's another guy that's got some explosive speed on the perimeter. You know, people are saying that Oklahoma's wide receivers are questionable. Well, they're showing up a little bit today. There's no question about that. Broken coverage in the secondary, though, is not going to make Mike Stoops happy.
Humphrey, a 100 and 200-yard guy, is Samaje Perine getting another carry. Tapper taps him. Once again, Perine is not allowed to be tackled. Well, he's allowed. You just won't be on the team come August if you hit him.
Perine against Kansas, 427 yards rushing on November 22nd, most in a single game in NCAA history. Unbelievable season for this guy. Averaged 131.8 yards per game, best in the conference, 8th in the country.
Broke Greg Pruitt's record that stood for 43 years. Amazing. Second down and 9. P. Ryan's going to stay in the backfield, get a couple of carries today. And we've got a whistle.
Timeout. Timeout by the red team.
Timeout, red.
And with that, we'll take a break. We've got 8:58 left to play in the first half. The white leading the red in the red-white scrimmage, 7-3. The tradition of Oklahoma on the offensive line. We do this because Dave Lapham was an offensive lineman.
Well, the thing that's impressive about it, Ron, you look, first, second, third round picks, you know, the top 10 picks in the draft, top 5 picks in the draft. And everybody loves the Oklahoma offensive line. Why? Because they're developed with the proper technique. Watching Bill Bedenbaugh work with the offensive linemen in the end zone in yesterday's practice, the technique that he is teaching these kids, they won't have to unlearn bad habits and relearn in the NFL. It gives them a huge leg up. So they know they have physical ability. They know they're coached well. And you come out of Oklahoma, the NFL is drooling to get you on their roster. And 3 guys this year already talked from last year. We already talked about this year's draft: Williams, Thompson, and Shed. They're going to get drafted, and a couple of them are going to get drafted very, very high.
And there's a lot of talent, young guys that once the light comes on this season are going to make outstanding linemen. They fake it to P. Ryan. They go underneath. Inside the 20, down to the 18-yard line. As we've been telling you, Chad McKee is with us today, and he's with one of those linemen we were just talking about. Chad?
Thank you, Ron. It is good to be with you today. I got Phil Lodeholt of the Minnesota Vikings with us. What is it like for you to come back? Did you bring this weather with you, by the way?
Definitely did not bring this weather. It's good to get some sunshine, some nice weather, but it's you know, it's always great to come back and see some old teammates and get a perspective of what the team's going to be like this year.
Yeah, the offensive line, in fact, they lost 4 guys. 2 or 3 of them will be joining you in the NFL hopefully shortly, but they got to fill in a few gaps. How do you feel about what Coach Bill Bedenbaugh has on that line?
You know, Coach Bedenbaugh, he's been doing a great job since he's been here. So, you know, like you said, guys are leaving, but the good thing about OU is we always seem to be able to replace everybody. So, you know, they do a great job recruiting, and I'm excited about the O-line. I think they, you know, give new guys a chance to step in and do a good job.
What is it like to be around some of your former teammates? I know you get to see them from time to time in the NFL, but to come back to the place that you kind of call home.
Oh, it's great. You know, that's one of the main reasons why I come back, to get a chance to see all these guys. You know, I try to make it every year. It's always a great deal to just, you know, just hang around the guys from college. And like you said, I call this place home, so it's great.
Recuperating from a little bit of shoulder surgery or pectoral surgery, I should say. How are things going, and when will you be back in the fold?
Everything's going well. You know, getting back in the weight room now, just rebuilding the strength, and looking forward to training camp where I'll be 100%.
It's great to have you here, Phil. Thanks for joining us for a couple of minutes. Go enjoy the rest of the day.
All right, thanks.
Guys, back to you.
All right, thanks very much, Chad. 3rd down and 8 as we close in on the 8-minute mark here of the second quarter.
Another guy appropriately named Lodeholt. The dude is a load,
time.
man. He is a load. He's a heck of a player.
On 3rd down and 8, they rush 4. Pass over the middle, tip, picked off. Nice job by Hatari Bird. Takes it out of the end zone up to the 16-yard line.
Linebacker got a great drop, and I think it was the young, talented Tay Evans that got the drop and tipped the ball for Hatari Bird to take advantage of. Evans goes deep, tips it airborne, and Evans got some long arms, and I tell you, he's a heck of a football player. Another son of the 3-time All-Big 8 defensive lineman here at Oklahoma. I mean, the gene pool for the Sooners has been phenomenal. And watch number 9 again. Get his drop, tip it up. Hatari Bird makes the play on the tip drill, and another takeaway for the defense. They've recovered a fumble and now an interception. Both times, offense is in the red zone. One time on the shadow of the goal line, fumble it, and in the red zone throw an interception. So the defense with their backs to the wall stepped up.
Of course, Tay's dad, Bobby Joe. Coaches really talked highly of Tay Evans, the redshirt freshman out of Allen, Texas. Comes from an impressive program just north in the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
Got a younger brother here, the offensive tackle Bobby Evans isn't going to play today.
And a whistle once again. Quarterback cannot be touched. Baker Mayfield back in. Mayfield 3 of 4, 84 yards, and the first time he was in there, had a pretty good job.
Yeah,
all 4 quarterbacks. You know, you look at them and you say, that's a lot of talent.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, they have options, and Mayfield's very comfortable. You can tell he knows the offense like the back of his hand, and the offense is very vanilla today, Ron. This is not much of a mental challenge for him at all.
Go back to the ground game. Busting through again, Brooks. He's showing us something today. He's been the workhorse. But I want to go back to the quarterbacks, Dave, because that's the big story this season. Do you think whoever is quarterback for this team, the offense going to take on the personality of that quarterback?
Well, I think Lincoln Riley basically determines what he's going to do offensively by his personnel, and the biggest key to that is what can the quarterback do? What kind of throws can he make? He's very impressed with the arm strength of all of his quarterbacks. I think he feels like every one of them can make every throw that is necessary to make in this offense.
Comes down to the intangibles then. Mayfield throws it out of the flat. Pass is complete, just about a yard short of the first down. And I think they have a good attitude this. Not that I'm the expert on it, but we still have a lot of practices before the first game. We have 2 more after this. There's no need to name a starter today.
No. I mean, they've got 29 practices in the fall. They have all summer workouts, and there's no reason to pull the trigger too soon. But when the decision is made, Lincoln Riley's not a guy that has a quick hook. I mean, he believes in staying with a quarterback and not having the kid looking over his shoulder if he makes a mistake.
Again, Brooks. This time he'll get the first down. Gets close to the 49-yard line. They'll move the chains. Nice job by Brooks. High school is a quick guy. Ran about a 10.600, so they know this young man's got speed. Closing in on 6 minutes to play in a very fast first half. Mayfield, the little shuttle pass. It's worked already once, and it's worked again. Another first down inside the 40, down to the 39-yard line.
That's a tough play to defend. It really is, because the back just comes up in the line of scrimmage like he's taking a little bit of a run fake, and then he's in blitz pickup. Then he just kind of settles in there like he's blitz protection. Linebackers drop, get some space, and then he's just outrunning people in space. Heck of a play.
And Mayfield now going up top, throwing it up, and is it picked off again? Yes, it is, inside the 5-yard line.
Boy, I'll tell you, that's a great play by
William Johnson.
By the defense. They had 3 guys back there, Ron. That's a play, a throw Mayfield really shouldn't make. He's got 1 receiver in the area and 3 defensive backs closing on the football. And the odds are that one's not going to be a completion. And Johnson makes a good play on the football. And, you know, you try to reverse roles. When you're in that situation as a wide receiver, you try to just say, I'm going to play defensive back. But the walk-on Basquine could not quite get that done.
Johnson was the #2 junior college cornerback out of Monroe Community College. He's originally from New Rochelle, New York, and you know they're waiting for somebody to take that other cornerback spot opposite of Zach Sanchez, and I think William Johnson just threw his name in the mix, Dave.
Well, in this conference, you have to have a lot of cornerbacks because everybody's running this air raid offense in this in this conference. You look at TCU, you look at Texas Tech, you look at West Virginia. They're all running this air raid spread offense, just like Oklahoma's back to running.
And here's why Oklahoma wants to run it. You look at the 2014 total offense. East Carolina, obviously, with Lincoln Riley, the offensive coordinator there, 533 yards. I tell you, look at the teams. Those are the teams that run the offense.
And Baylor, #1 in the entire country, is not exactly this type of offense, but there's some similarities in the way they spread the football field. It's not quite the air raid, but I'm telling you, they got a bunch of athletes that'll stress you and spread you and make you defend every inch of the football field as well. So practicing against it every day will get you ready for Big 12 action.
And Cody Thomas will come back in. Nothing doing. Good job by the defense. So as we head into 5 minutes left in the first half, I think we've seen some very explosive offensive plays by Westbrook and Andrews. Nice job by Daniel Brooks. Quarterbacks have been okay. Defense have given up some big plays, but they've made some big plays.
They have 3 takeaways now, Ron. A couple of interceptions and a fumble recovery. And, they've bent but not broken. They've had a couple of takeaways in the red zone. Good throw.
That's a rifle throw up over the 20 to the 22-yard line. Pass complete again to Jeffrey Mead, and the big sophomore out of Tulsa showing us that he's got some hands.
Yeah, and he's using that big body well, too. He's getting inside, and he grabbed it pretty much with his left hand again. That's what he did with that big throw down the middle of the football field. He's got some muckers on him, boy, and controls that football pretty easily.
We were watching him in practice yesterday and said, who's that guy? I think my calves are bigger than his. He's only 184 pounds at 6'6". But, boy, he's got some hands on him. Running game. Samaje Perine breaks through, and let's see where they mark him down. Now they're going to say he was touched right away, so they'll put it back at the 25-yard line.
And Perine saying, I'm telling you, man, if that were full time, he wasn't going to take me down.
You weren't going to bring me down.
No way.
With that hand? I don't think so.
He's probably saying, you know, I'm hurting my team. Every time I carry the football, if I get touched, they're saying I'm down. Yeah. Man, I'm not going to get taken down in that first contact.
Well, Sooners spread it out a little bit now. 3 wide receivers to the left, and they go to the left. Pass complete at the 30-yard line. They're going to say he was at the 29-yard line. I want to remind you about VIP Limo. Special rates for any special occasion. All you have to do is call 752-LIMO. That's L-I-M-O.
You know,
see, when you grow up in Pittsburgh, you got to spell it. You just can't say it. Yeah.
There you go. You know, the other thing, Ron, this offense does by spreading the field, it puts a lot of pressure one-on-one tackling. You know, I mean, it's hard to rally the troops to get some support, and you have to make a lot of good sure one-on-one tackles.
Incomplete.
Ball thrown behind the receiver. He tipped it. Defensive player tips it back, and that ball was bouncing around very dangerously, but it all started with an inaccurate throw, a ball thrown behind intended receiver.
Devontae Bond again. We've called his name a couple of times already this afternoon. Coaches say he plays with power. He plays with speed. One of the good edge guys, and has a chance to be outstanding. Brings up a 4th down and 2, so they'll kick it away. Again, no returns, just kind of punting it just for field position. Well, after today's game, well, every year they get a bus, take the team out to Coach Bob Stoops' house, and I'm sure his wife appreciates this.
Yeah.
And they throw down some groceries. Oh, man, don't be showing us that now.
That's stronger than new rope there.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Then they get to jump into the pool.
Cannonball. Empty that pool. I bet there's a lot of water on the sides of that pool.
Go.
There we are. Yeah, these guys can cannonball, no doubt.
I like Casatati there, you know, playing a little defense.
Go to the hole, big fella. Ooh, look at Trevor Knight.
Got a little jump shot.
Nice little follow through there.
This is one way how to do. Oh, yeah. That'll work. I tell you, Bob is, we've had a chance to know Bob since he first got here, and Dave and I have been together a long time. We were talking yesterday, our favorite coaches to be around, and he's at the top of our list because he just has always treated the media, and especially us, with such respect, and he's just been a great guy to us through the years.
No question. I mean, he's, you know, you got to consider him a friend as much as anything else. And the thing that he understands, players have to get away from it. Coaches have to get away from it. They have to have balance in their lives. And I think in terms of a guy that's in a big-time program, Bob Stoops gets family life and balancing your life as well as any coach has ever coached.
Well, the flag was thrown well before that play even got underway. So that's going to be coming back. And he kind of learned that from Steve Spurrier. Steve Spurrier used to have like a family day where the families came out.
Illegal substitution, defense, 12 men on the field. The penalty is declined, result of the play, 1st down.
That's something, Ron, that this offense will cause problems with.
Right.
They're running different personnel groups on and off the field so much. And defensively, you're trying to match up and you get some confusion. There's always matchup confusion issues, and you get caught with too many men on the field sometimes.
And Mike Stoops was talking about that. He goes, just trying to, you know, match up players, it's almost impossible. That pass is going to be incomplete. No flag is thrown.
Everybody was entitled to their spot, real estate on the field, and legs wrapped up and tangled up. But, you know, officials determined that no harm, no foul there. That one's quite interesting, though. 9 times out of 10, you're going to get a call of some sort, I think, during the course of a regular season football game there. But, yeah, I think the fast and furious pace of the substituting as well as, you know, running the play so quickly really stresses the defense.
Nothing doing on the ground game. Great job defensively. No gain on the play, maybe even losing a couple of feet. You know, we talked about some of the new coaches. Also want to welcome Coach Reynolds, Coach Cooks, all coming here on the defensive side of the football, and 2 incredible additions because of the pedigree and where they've coached and what they've done in their career.
Well, Cooks, another Iowa all Big Ten player. Oops, a little bit of early movement at the right tackle position, and can't have that. You have to keep your mind right. but I think Coach Cooks is going to do a great job in the secondary, and then Coach Reynolds, he's got a ring with the Indianapolis Colts, a Super Bowl ring, and he worked with John Tierlink, who is a great pass rush teacher at the NFL level as a defensive line coach. So he's got a pretty good pedigree going there.
Coach Reynolds was at Stanford last year. Of course, Coach Cooks was at Notre Dame. Inside of 1:50 to play. White scored first. Red tacked on a field goal of 20 yards. That's why the score is 7-3 right now. And one of the new things we're going to be seeing this year, Mike Stoops is moving up to the booth. We haven't seen that since he was at Kansas State, instead of being on the field.
Yeah, Mike Stoops is up there probably seeing things before they happen. He's probably seeing too much up there in the booth, but you know, that's another sign where he's got a lot of confidence in Coach Cooks, as he was coaching the secondary last year. Mike Stoops is now working with outside linebackers as well as associate head coach and defensive coordinator. And on the offensive side of things, Lincoln Riley is down on the field, but up in the booth for him, his eyes up in the booth, is Coach Cale Gundy. And Coach Gundy's gone from running back coach to inside receiver coach and playing the quarterback position. Coach Riley trusts Coach Gundy's eyes, giving him good information from up in the booth.
I want to remind you, coming up at halftime, we have a very special guest. Oklahoma Athletic Director Joe Castiglione will be joining us. We'll be talking about the stadium renovation plans and how you can be part of it. And it's very impressive, to say the least. Wait till you see some of the pictures we have. Plus, Chad McKee is going to be on the field having some pretty special interviews. What a great week so far for Oklahoma. The men's gymnastics team wins the NCAA title last night. The men baseball team beats Texas. Women's softball team beats Texas. Tennis wins. The women gymnastics team will be in Fort Worth next week, and they are the favorite to win the NCAA title. Besides that, Joe hasn't had anything to do.
Really?
You know?
Basketball team had a heck of a season. Made a great run in the tournament.
Baker Mayfield back in, throws it up near sideline. Incomplete.
Oh, they're marking it. They're saying he got 1 foot in.
He caught it now.
Yeah, they're saying he had 1 foot in bounds with possession. That's a heck of a play. If, in fact, he got that foot down before the other one was out of bounds. But Mayfield threw it to the exact spot where he had to throw it to get a completion outside, up the sideline. Oh, I think that's dicey. I thought that foot came down out of bounds.
Mayfield will go back upstairs, looking for the deep out, throwing down the sideline pass. Picked off again inside the 15-yard line. Still on his feet, up over the 50, and they're finally going to say he is down. Nice job by Jordan Thomas, the sophomore out of Klein, Texas. Didn't have an interception last year. He's got one in the spring game.
Well, Baker Mayfield from the right hash mark throws all the way to the left numbers. That's a long way, and the ball's in the air a long time. And watch the drop. I mean, they're reading deep route all the way, tracking the football, safety coming over the top for help coverage. That's just good coverage, and that's a throw that Baker Mayfield shouldn't have made. And, you know, sometimes that riverboat gambler mentality can backfire a little bit. You have to be really pleased if you're Coach Cooks and Coach Stoops with how the secondary played that one, and great technique shown right there by the young cornerback, Jordan Thomas, only a sophomore.
Bud Light, the perfect beer for when you are up for whatever. I think Baker Mayfield has got to be a little frustrated right now. He was the toast of the town after last year's spring game. Obviously did not throw an incompletion and kind of had some ups and downs today. He's had some good plays, but he's also had some plays that I think coaches are going to have a second look at on the film.
Yeah, now that's 4 takeaways for Mike Stoops' defense. 3 interceptions and a fumble recovery. That's not bad. Hanson's the only quarterback that hasn't thrown a pick. Everybody else has tasted that.
Final 44 seconds of the half, only 7-3, so we're expecting a lot of offensive fireworks. We have seen it, but we've seen a lot of miscues also, which, you know, part of, I guess, installing a new offense, trying to find out where you're going to go from here. Brooks has been outstanding, though.
And I think that, again, this offense is very, very vanilla in terms of game plan. They're not really trying to do a whole lot out there. Basically, the spring game's to evaluate players. Don't try to confuse them. You know, see if they can cover, see if they can get off blocks and tackle, and all the things go along with it.
10 rushes, almost 80 yards now for Daniel Brooks as the clock Stop with 12 seconds left. And I think they're looking for technique, too. Guys, what kind of technique are they playing
Right.
for these young people?
Particularly the young guys who played on the scout team and really weren't coached a whole lot of technique that is Oklahoma technique, or maybe got a little lazy with their technique. And particularly the guys that you're going to count on, two things you want to have happen in the spring game: avoid injury, which, knock on wood, so far they appear to have done that. And the second, the players you're really going to count on to give you some snaps during the 2015 season, those guys play smart football and they play with the proper technique. That's what you're looking for out of your spring game.
Well, if you come to Oklahoma, you are going to be working out with one of the finest strength and conditioning coaches in the country, and Jerry Schmidt. He puts his players, along with his assistant coaches, through a variety of drills. And I'll tell you what, Jerry he's taken a different philosophy. He gets rid of what he likes to call bad weight sometimes, and ugly weight. And he keeps the guys in top physical shape, but he really molds their bodies well.
Well, his resume speaks volumes. Was involved in a national championship at Florida, Notre Dame, and Oklahoma.
Yeah.
National championships at all three of those great programs and institutions. That's enough said for me. Jerry Schmidt knows of what he speaks.
Except every time he looks at me, I think he's going to say, Ron, you need to drop another 10. You always feel guilty when you hang around him. Good look at Jerry. Don't tell Jerry we're sitting up here with Oreos right now.
Yeah, right, exactly.
I don't think he and Tiffany, who handles the nutrition, who does a great job for the Sooners.
Yeah, Jerry Schmidt, he turns young boys into men by the time they leave Oklahoma. There's no question.
He has reshaped a lot of bodies since he's been here. Final 3 seconds here in the opening half. 7-3 our score. And we'll try our second field goal attempt. They're going to put this down at about the 37-yard line. It'll be a 47-yard field goal attempt by Hodgson. We know he has the leg. Getting an opportunity. Now, they've got an incoming freshman coming in.
Austin Siebert, yeah.
Austin Siebert out of Belleville, Illinois. They're expecting him to compete, but I'm thinking Hodgson's saying, wait a minute, I'm still here.
Siebert rated the #1 punter and #1 place kicker in the country. So, I'm not sure he'll do both, but he may win one of the jobs. But that's a pretty good kick right there.
How about Hodgson getting the field goal? That's for the Red. So at intermission, White scored first. Red has added a couple of field goals. We are at halftime, and White leading the Red in the spring game 7-6. A lot coming up at halftime, including Athletic Director Joe Castiglione after this.
Oklahoma Memorial Stadium and the annual Red-White game. We are at halftime and joined by one of the Sooner stars, Samaje Perine, who has been having the blue lettering on here, which is a little. Is that doing you a favor, or defensive backs who might have to tackle you a favor?
Both of us. Both of us.
I would agree. What has it been like since you broke the NCAA rushing mark against Kansas? All of the attention, the accolades that have been thrown your way. What's it been like for you?
A little overwhelming, but, we take it day by day.
Who helps you through that? Family, friends, teammates, coaches? There they are right there. Who do we have with us here?
We have my mom, Gloria Perine, and my dad.
Okay, what's it like having a son break the NCAA rushing record?
It's pretty awesome, but he still knows he still have a lot of work to do, so put his head down, keep praying, and keep working.
Do you guys keep him grounded? What do you guys say to him to keep him grounded?
Just, you never got to stop. You can't stop. The moment you stop working, the moment the success stops, so just keep it going.
Clearly that's been a mantra and a motto that's been passed along to you from them. But you're a ways away from home. How do you keep it each and every day? Keep your focus, keep that humility about you.
It's only 5 hours. If I slip up, then, she'll be up here in a heartbeat, beat me up.
She gets here in about 4 hours and 15 minutes if you mess up, right? What do you think of the new offense? Obviously, Lincoln Riley coming in, and there are a lot of differences, more catching the ball out of the backfield for you.
I like it. I like it a lot. It's going to open up holes for us in the run game and, show our versatility in the passing game. So
you also have several different quarterbacks throwing you the ball. What's it been like to work with a bunch of different guys as opposed to just one?
I love them all. I love them all.
You got a crowded backfield as well. I know that Alex is out here. Joe Mixon added to the mix. You've got Rodney as well. You've got some very talented running backs. Is that the strength of this team, would you say?
Yes, of course. Of course. A lot of running backs. who can actually run the ball and, you know, make plays. It's great. You know, we keep fresh, and in a close game, you know, we're going to need every one of them.
Samaje, what do you plan to work on this offseason to only enhance your skills and get better? What are the things you feel like you need to get better at?
Work on my catching. I can always get better in that, and my pass blocking.
Well, we'll let you get over here and enjoy things with your teammates. Congratulations on a great season. Have a good offseason. We look forward to seeing you in the fall.
Thank you.
Samaje Perine with us, guys. Back up to you.
Bye. And we're just about set to get the second half underway. Along with Dave Lapham, you've already heard from Chad McKee. I'm Ron Thulin. Good to have you with us today. In that first half, Mayfield was 7 of 9, 128 yards. Thomas 5 of 9 for 83. Knight 5 of 11 for 59. Hansen 3 of 3, the only one with perfection of 55 yards. And everybody but Hansen threw an interception in that first half. And let's take a look at some of those numbers and take it a little bit further. Dave, what are your thoughts about all those numbers?
Well, obviously, you don't like to see the turnovers. Baker Mayfield, 7 of 9. The ball never hit the ground. 2 interceptions, and he completed 7 of them. Trevor Knight less than 50% with a touchdown and interception. You know, it's typical spring game.
Right.
You know, make some plays, make some mistakes, and make some corrections and move on.
What a great visit again with Joe Castiglione, and every time we talk to him as they try to keep it on the ground, the one thing he wants to make sure that, and we've seen it, he doesn't like taking any of the credit.
Right.
I mean, the credit, it's not something, I think it's just, he actually believes that it's the fans, it's everybody else. And
right.
Boy, I tell you, that's very impressive.
I think when the on-campus adversity we talked about in the first half took place, the fact that David Boren, Joe Castiglione, and Bob Stoops have been together for going into their 17th year, I think that leadership continuity was huge in the way Oklahoma handled that whole thing as a university. It was massive. I think the fact that they trust each other and they know how Bob Stoops, how he was going to handle things, and Joe Castiglione was on the same page. I think that dynamic of those three being together for going on 17 years was huge, facing that adversity.
Now Mayfield has to go away and 4th down, and they're going to kick it away again. And a good look at Bob, and you never can read the expressions, you know, after all these years. And the punting duty. Once again, Dave was talking about Austin Siebert, the young freshman coming in. Luckily, you have the same snappers back, Wesley Horkey and Connor Knight. Horkey will be punting on the long snap. Knight on the play snaps. We've got a timeout. We are in the third quarter, still 7-6 from Norman. Of today's telecast. Good crowd on hand. They're enjoying the sun. Weren't sure this many people would show up, considering the rain was in the area. Again, here's Jeffrey Mead. I tell you, Jeffrey Mead, the redshirt freshman, 4-star guy out of California, or out of Tulsa, I should say. Kind of a hoops guy. That's what they really thought he was coming in here.
He's made plays today.
And the run game has been impressive. By the way, Mead, 3 receptions, 88 yards. But one of the keys, I think, for that young receiver is the fact that Dennis Simmons, the outside wide receivers coach, has been working a lot with him. There's a good look at Dennis.
Yep. And Dennis obviously very experienced in this offense. You can see Washington State with Mike Leach, and East Carolina with Lincoln Riley on the left there, the new offensive coordinator, and Texas Tech years with you know, in that air raid offense down there as well. So he knows of what he speaks, and every single offensive coach has been exposed to this offense except Jay Boulware, who's now moved from tight ends to running back coach and retains the special teams coordinator role. But to have all those coaches already having coached in this system before is beneficial.
And Knight just hands it off. And I want to mention Jay Boulware because obviously did a great job with special teams last year as far as punt coverage and everything, and especially kickoff returns. But now he gets this new role, and you and I put our head in his office yesterday. We're talking to him. He says, you know, I don't care what I'm coaching. I'm just balling.
Yeah.
He is an exciting guy to be around.
He's got a infectious personality. He's got the it factor for sure. I'm sure he's a dynamic recruiter because I don't think he's ever met somebody that's not a front end.
That's exactly right. You're right. Nice pass is overthrown. Defense getting a little more aggressive here in the second half. Closing in on 5 minutes to play here in the third quarter.
You know, I think defensively, you're going to give up some big plays going against this offense. But then when the field's condensed, they've played well in the red zone. They've turned the ball over, you know, in the red zone. And I think one of the big keys this year in 2015 is playing complementary football.
That's right.
Offense stay on the field, defense get off the field, special teams dictate field position. Every phase of those three phases has to be complementary to each other, and last year that wasn't the case at times.
Knight's going to have to scramble, being chased, finds an opening, still on his feet, looking, gets up to midfield before he's finally touched, and that's where they're going to mark him down. I think one of the things, too, is you have to find balance in pass coverage. Is that a fair statement?
Sure. I mean, you know, it's balance, when to help, when to load the box up. I mean, all of it's a factor. It was funny, Ron, watching one of the down linemen lobbying the official. Like, I had him. You know, I had Trevor Knight pinned in and hemmed down. The official ruled that no, Knight was going to spin away and not get sacked. So.
You know, you talk about what's coming in for Mike Stoops and company. They'll be bringing in 5 defensive backs in the fall. No depth really at safety right now. And one of the things that you were talking to Coach Stoops about yesterday is they're going to kick it away, and we'll watch this. Once again, no rush, no return. With it, one of the things you were talking about is the linebackers. Now, obviously, Dominique Alexander not playing today, but they're bringing in a couple of linebackers that are very, very impressive young men.
Yeah, Ricky DeBerry, 6'2", 240-pounder out of Virginia, 5-star recruit. And then Arthur McGinnis, 6'2", 2¼ out of Louisiana. So, and these guys are phenomenal players. Ricky DeBerry has got the size-speed ratio, and he comes off that edge and poses a lot of problems. He can bull rush, convert that speed to power, and then DeBerry, or McGinnis, I should say, this kid, another one. You know, they use him on the edge here, and he probably, in my opinion, a linebacker's a linebacker. If he's an outside backer, play strong side or weak side. If he's inside backer, watch this speed.
Wow.
Play breaks from the other side. He takes the proper angle and runs it down from behind, runs the running back down from behind. So McGinnis obviously has open field speed and athleticism. Those guys are going to help, those kind of athletes.
Cody Thomas in at quarterback, keeping it on the ground. Not a whole lot going on. And one of the reasons the linebackers have gotten so good over the last couple of years is the inside linebacker coach, Tim Kish. Now, Tim was at Arizona with Mike Stoops.
Yep.
He did a great job there. And, you know, we've all known Tim a long time. He does a great job with the linebackers. And, boy, you watch the improvement of these young men over the couple of years. It's been impressive.
You know, watching Coach Kish and yesterday's practice, and Coach Cooks and Mike Stoops working on red zone, defending crossing routes in the red zone from the offense, they're going to be satisfied that work paid off with some turnovers, red zone turnovers.
Right.
I mean, guys listened to what they were talking about, and they were coached up properly.
Thomas flushed out of the pocket, and he's going to be knocked down at about the 15-yard line. That'll be a loss of 2 on the play. This is an OU defense that had 32 sacks last year for 204 yards, which was the same yardage as 2013. Problem is they forced a lot of turnovers, but the offense coughed the ball up. And, you know, we were trying to find some type of barometer, some type of thing that's the same in the losses. And Bob Stoops kind of hit it on the head. He said we had turnovers, we had missed field goals in the losses, and there was, and we couldn't get off the field.
Yeah. In turnovers for touchdowns, too. Those will kill you, but they went -5 last year in the turnover department. That's very un-Sooner-like to be -5 ratio.
You know, when you throw in missed field goal attempts, turnovers for touchdown and the losses, you're talking 10-point swings a lot of the time.
Oh, no question. No question about it.
And there's the defensive improvement over the last 3 years, and I think a lot of teams would still take that defense, especially rushing yards of just over 106 yards a game last year.
Well, in 2013, the defense gave up 5 yards of play, and everybody was very happy with the defense performance. Last year, it gave up 5.1, only 1/10 of a yard difference, but they're on the field a lot more snaps. And that's what I'm talking about, complementary football. Offense can't go 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, put pressure on your defense. At some point, they're going to crack and fold a little bit. So offense, stay on the field, you know, eat some clock, burn some field position up positively, score points. Defensively, get off the football field. And special teams dictate positive field position and play good complementary football. You're going to win more games than you lose that way for sure.
Let's talk about the fact that this defense is going up against Lincoln Riley's offense. How will that help them?
Well, you know, I think, again, when you have 6 of the top 13 offenses in the country run this style of offense, and 3 of them are Big 12 offenses.
Right.
Talking about TCU, Texas Tech, and West Virginia, and then Baylor, schematically the same type of thing. Practicing against this every day and dealing with the substitutions and the tempo and everything that goes with it's going to help them.
Neal has a little opening. Got the first down inside the 40-yard line. They'll mark him down, though. It said his knee touched at the 41. Neal, 7 receptions last year versus Tennessee. Had 42 on the season.
You know, again, a nice kick-out block and get out in the perimeter and create some space and let skilled players get in space and do their thing, and Neal did it well.
Well, he finally got an opportunity last year. He took full advantage of that opportunity. He had only 13 receptions in 2013 and tripled it last season.
Yeah, this offense is about fast and furious tempo. There's no question about it. And substituting personnel, constant matchup confusion, and it's all about being aggressive. It's a mentality, attacking. That's what this offense is going to be about, and I think it's going to be fun for Sooner fans.
Especially with all the running they've got right now, especially today. I want to remind you, Jimmy Austin OU Golf Club is your one-stop destination for exclusive brands and styles to fit all of your game day merchandise needs. Come out and enjoy one of the state's top championship courses, the OU Golf Club, where crimson and cream meet lush and green. Could be my favorite slogan.
Sounds like a good dessert.
We used to play the Barry Switzer tournament there.
There you go.
Somehow Barry always won his own tournament. Out of the backfield, it'll be coming up. They're going to call it a touchdown.
Yeah.
Tiptoeing down the line by Alex Ross.
Well, Alex Ross is a guy, you get him out in space at 221 pounds with the sprinter speed that he has. He's a dynamic kick returner, and that's what this is. You're basically getting the ball out in space, no coverage. They break coverage on Ross. Nobody takes him out of the backfield. And he says, you're going to give me that kind of opportunity. I'm going to get the ball inside the pylon before you can get an angle on me. My speed's going to outrun your angle.
Now the red has taken the lead. The white hasn't scored since their opening possession. 12-7 is our score at the end of 3.
Y aquí viene el pase con Alex Ross por la derecha. Y es touchdown a favor del equipo rojo. Touchdown para Oklahoma, y se le dio la vuelta a la tortilla.
And that was Francisco Rivera and Roger Valdivieso on the call. The OU Spring game is also being broadcast in Spanish this year. It's going to air tomorrow, Sunday, April 12th at 2 o'clock on Telemundo affiliates in Oklahoma City and Tulsa. Check the listing below for the channel in your city. And they've already learned how to wave when they're on TV.
I got to love that.
I love it. Hello, Dave Lapham, Chad McKee, Ron Thulin with you in Norman, Oklahoma, as Cody Thomas takes the field, the sophomore out of Colleyville, Texas. 3 starts last season. Smart, competitive quarterback, giving up baseball. Of course, he was drafted by the New York Yankees, played outfield for the Sooners, and has decided to concentrate on football. Daniel Brooks, he's been the workhorse. I think from a mental standpoint, just concentrating on one, besides the physical, which we all know is difficult, but the mental standpoint, I think, for him is outstanding. Now you put your effort behind one sport.
Yeah, and I think, Ron, overall, he's got as much talent as any of the quarterbacks. He ran this offense in high school, and he had a lot of the same terminology, so he's got some comfort level there. Don't count him out. I mean, there's still a lot of work to be done.
All 4 quarterbacks, completely different personalities. Again, it is Brooks, left side, turns on the Jets, inside the 45, and stood up at the 43, still going. Down to the 40-yard line.
Well, Brooks realizes that this is an opportunity for him to shine.
Oh, yeah.
There's guys that are higher than him on the depth chart at the running back position. P. Ryan, they weren't going to hit today. Other guys aren't playing due to injury. He knows it's his opportunity. He's taking full advantage.
Why not? Straight drop back. Pass is incomplete.
Good coverage.
Daniel Brooks, 2 straight years in high school. He rushed for over 1,300 yards. Last season, his best game was against Kansas. William, 24 yards on 5 carries.
William Johnson's playing a good game today.
He is.
Ron, I mean, his coverage was great on that snap. He's got an interception. And this is a guy that, they'd like to see step up, and he's stepping up well. You need multiple corners to cover these spread offenses in the Big 12. You need, 4 good corners.
Brooks already 136 yards on 18 carries today. Bang it over to the left side, down to about the 36-yard line. We go inside of 6.5 minutes to play as Alex Ross. You know, I went back and looked at some of the things the coaches were saying about him last year, the junior out of Jenks, Oklahoma. And one of the things they said about Ross, purposeful runner.
Purposeful, that means he'll get the pad level low and put it on you. You know, that's the thing is you think, okay, this guy's a speed demon. I mean, he's not gonna run you over.
Right.
This guy will lower his shoulder pads and put cleat marks up your chest.
He's 221, as you mentioned earlier. 3rd down and 6. They'll go to the air. Going down the far sideline, pass is incomplete.
Trying to hit Andrews again out there, aren't they? Nope, it's not Andrews.
88.
Connor Knight. No, it's Delay. Derek Delay. Walk on. You know, the good news is for Bob Stoops, he's been able to get a lot of guys in this football game.
Yeah.
And it seems again, he's handled it. He's not making them work overtime. This football game's moving along at a fast clip, limiting the number of snaps. And when you limit snaps, you limit injury opportunity. And so far, it's working out.
Well, Hodgson is going to attempt a 50-yarder. We've already seen his leg this afternoon, and this has been a positive sign, I think, for Sooner coaches. Good snap, good hold. Nope, whistle. I'll tell you, I'm impressed with Hodgson's leg.
Decline, 4th down.
Jumped off sides, 1st down. Defensive issue on the field goal block team.
They're still going to go ahead and kick the field goal. And it still will be a 50-yard attempt. Hodgson out of North Richland Hills. And it's blocked. Trajectory is so low on those 50-yarders. And we're going to take a break. 5:23 left to play in the 2015 OU spring game. Red leads at 13-7.
My coach's style really hasn't changed, but I love it. Just because there's just different parts of practice that for so many years I haven't had a chance to really be a part of, because in a certain part of being a running back coach, you spend more time with the offensive linemen. And don't get me wrong, I love our offensive linemen. I love Bill Bedenbaugh. But it's good to kind of get around the skill guys and compete against the defensive backs. So it's been very enjoyable.
And Ron, this is going to do nothing but enhance Cale Gundy's coaching career. He's going to be an offense coordinator someday. Getting away from just coaching running backs only in other parts of the offense, expand that horizon big time. He'll be an offense coordinator and head coach one day.
Again, Jeffrey Mead up over the 35 to the 38-yard line. And kind of, following up on that, to take a look at the job that Jeffrey Mead's doing. Again, courtesy of Coach Gundy. Yeah, Coach Simmons.
These crossing patterns are big in this offense, Ron. It's a big, big part of the success.
Made 4 receptions, 90 yards. Got the 1st down, far side. Pass complete to Bennett. But kind of picking up on Coach Gundy, I think the fact that you got to remember, he held every OU passing record until Mike Stoops got here for Oklahoma.
Right.
He has been a quarterback. He understands the system. He understands running. He's a great recruiter, obviously, running back. Kind of a different level and a different look, I think. And he's going to be the one upstairs talking to Lincoln Riley come game day.
He's his eyes, and he's going to tell him what he's seeing from up above. And here we go with another big run by Brooks. He's having himself a ball game. Nice read right there. Brooks just took it out the back door and creased him for big yards. But, yeah, I mean, I think that's a lot of trust Lincoln Riley has in Coach Gundy as a former quarterback, as you say, Ron. I mean, he knows what he's seeing, and Coach Riley trusts the information he's going to get from Coach Gundy up top. So it's going to do nothing but enhance his career.
Have to give props to Brian Walker for the little pop on that last play, coming up from his safety spot, the redshirt sophomore out of Westmore High School in Oklahoma City. These young players get in, and they've got a chance. There's a good look at them. They get a chance to play. You want to put a helmet. You want to have a denture check on somebody if you're a defensive player.
Oh, this is an exciting day. You're playing for Oklahoma in their spring game.
Yeah.
And then, Big 12. The walk-ons are getting a chance to, basically get paid for all their work. That's tough being a walk-on. It's like you're going to work every day of the week and you don't get a paycheck.
That's right.
I mean, but now you get a little bit of a paycheck today and you're out there able to mix it up.
Well, after the penalty, they're going to move the ball inside the 30-yard line, finally place it down at about the 29-yard line. Once again, White scored early in that opening quarter to take a 7-0 lead. Red added a couple of field goals to cut it 7-6 at halftime, and now it is 13-7 Red as Brooks continues to work. One thing we haven't talked about, Dave, that we were chatting with the coaches about and those that cover the team, this is an offense that obviously a lot of players around the country want to play for. What do you think this is going to do? OU's already great recruiters, but what is this going to do as far as recruiting goes?
Well, I think every capable quarterback and every capable wide receiver around the country is going to welcome Oklahoma into their kitchens, you know, for recruiting. Sit down, talk to the parents and the kids. When I asked Lincoln Riley about that, has it opened the doors to some of those guys? Do you think it will? He goes, it already has. We're already in those kitchens. So, I mean, if you're a skill player like that, quarterback, wide receiver, it gives you an opportunity and a platform to show your skill set.
And we're closing in on 3 minutes to play in the ball game.
Ross running with authority once again, showing that he's not just an outside runner. He can hammer it up between the tackles. And I think Coach Biedenbaugh is going to be pretty pleased with the way all of his offensive linemen have run blocked. I mean, I've been watching them finish blocks. You know, they've sustained blocks and finished blocks pretty well in the running game.
Once again, a little bit of question marks on the offensive line, especially at the tackle spot, but they've opened some nice holes today. Run game this time over the left side down to the 10-yard line. Sooner Sports TV wardrobe provided by Blush Boutique and Threads Menswear on historic Campus Corner. Thank you, folks. And inside of 2.5 minutes. And the red team knocking on the door.
And here they are in the red zone again. And again, there's been 3 turnovers take place in the red zone, in the scoring zone. That's going to be a plus that Mike Stoops is going to talk to his defense about. You know, you can bend, but don't break. You get in the red zone, limited to field goal opportunity. Even better yet, take it away. And they've been able to do it multiple times.
Well, they forced fumbles today. They forced interception, high snap. Ross still able to get it, bouncing inside the 5 down to about the 3-yard line. And that's where they're going to mark it.
That's a heck of a play just to corral that snap. That was well done. Because the timing's off a little bit when you have to jump and contort yourself to make a play like that. And the quarterback and Ross still able to mesh well enough, and the offensive line came off the ball.
Hanson doing a good job out of Edmond, Oklahoma, pulling that down. The numbers on Ross, averaging just under under 4 yards a carry. On 1st and goal, they give it back to Ross, puts his head down, leans forward, waiting for the signal for the touchdown. There it is, touchdown.
You know, there's a guy that's playing on the offensive line on that particular series, Ron, that I think is a very athletic guy. Friesen played right tackle on that particular drive, and this kid is 6'5" and about 305 pounds, and he can play. Watch him at the right tackle position, 73, sustain his block, and very athletic. I mean, to me, he carries 300 pounds very well. He looks like an athletic defensive lineman, and everybody surged off that football very, very strongly.
Extra point is good. So Ross with 59 yards on 16 carries and a touchdown, also has a reception. He's had a big game. Well-deserved.
Reception touchdown. He took that little swing pass and got inside the pylon for a touchdown.
You know, you throw that in the fact with Daniel Brooks. So the 2 running backs that have gotten the majority of the runs today done a pretty good job, Sammy.
Looks like they're calling it a day.
I think they're going to do that. So that's going to be it. But Red's going to win it 20-7. When we come back, we still have a lot more to go. Dave's going to be giving us his final grades on the quarterback. Oh, we won't. Okay, we have it right now. Give us your final grade quarterback-wise.
Yeah, I think the competition is still pretty much wide open. You know, we talked about there's going to be 29 fall practices, still a lot of snaps to determine that starter.
Now that wraps it up. 20-7 our final score for Dave Lapham, Chad McKee. The final 20-7 Red over the White at the spring game. Welcome back to Norman, Oklahoma. 2015 spring game is in the books. In front of over 40,000 people, the Red win it 20-7. White scored first. Red came back to win it. I'm with Dave Lapham. I'm Ron Thulin. Dave, you know, we were kind of rushing around there for a second, just as far as the quarterback situation, but we had 4 quarterbacks. Everybody did, at times looked pretty good. At times somebody had, they all had mistakes.
Right.
But give us a kind of a breakdown of it.
Well, I think that the encouraging thing is Lincoln Riley said with the stable of running backs that they have here, he's going to run the football. And he did in the spring game. Yeah. As a team, they rushed for over 200 yards, averaged well over 5 yards a carry. I just think that Brooks rushed it 20 times for 150 yards. So the quarterback's best friend is a solid running game as well as the offensive coordinator. But I do think that the running lanes were there because of the offense, spreading the field. The quarterbacks took advantage. There were some plays that were made, but as you mentioned, Ron, turned it over too many times. You can't have 4 interceptions. There was a fumble, in the red zone that matched up against, and everything else that goes with it in spring games. And you've got to keep in mind, this was very, very vanilla. The offense is going to look a lot different when they take the field for the first time in the fall.
Well, also you look at the numbers of Mayfield, 176 yards total, but he did throw a couple of picks in that ball game.
Right.
But, going back again to Brooks, 20 rushes, 150 yards. I thought he ran with a purpose today. And you mentioned it briefly, the fact that this was his time to shine.
Sure.
Samaje Perine obviously was not allowed to be tackled. We did see him a couple of plays. But if you're Brooks, I think you proved a point today that you can be a valuable asset to this offense.
Well, I admire him because you look at it. Is there another school in the country that has a better stable of running backs than Oklahoma?
Right.
And a lot of them didn't play today, because of injury and other circumstances. He gets his chance and he steps up and he says, I'm going to shine. And took full advantage of his opportunity. So all he does is add depth to that stable. I think that the running back position in Oklahoma may be as strong a position group as any position group by any team in the country. It's really amazing what they've got there.
Not an argument for me, but let's quickly talk about the defense, because obviously some defensive changes. They wanted to improve their pass protection. You made the point throughout the telecast, the fact that they did bend a couple of times, but they didn't break, and they had some nice interceptions.
They did. The turnovers, 4 interceptions and a fumble recovery, 5 takeaways in a spring game. That's going to make Mike Stoops happy. And the fact that multiple takeaways occurred in the red zone. So it's like, you give up some yards, you bend, but when push comes to shove, you want to limit it to nothing but a field goal opportunity. They were better than that, and they took the football away. So I think that's a big plus for Mike Stoops to talk about. I thought that some of his young defensive backs covered well. I think that there was the first brick in the foundation was laid for improvement.
Well, the big question between now and the first game in September, who is going to be the quarterback? It'll be one of those 4,
right?
But we don't know who. A lot of practices between now and then. But a great game today. We saw the red team win 20-7. We saw some stars of the future. We want to thank you for being part of it. For Chad McKee, Dave Lapham, I'm Ron Thulin. Thanks for watching. So long, everybody, from Norman, Oklahoma.